Welcome to City Music Stories. Here we visit a city somewhere on Earth and look at two musical artists associated with that city. Until requests come for repeating artists, I'm focusing on how the artists got their big break. That might be their first single or their first recorded work. This series is driven by comments, so leave a comment for future videos. Let's get ready to travel now. Today we are going to Hawthorne, California, USA. This was suggested by my YouTube friend, Karina Johnson Run, and Karina has been an awesome supporter of my music and things for a while now. Karina suggested the city for this video and one of the musical artists. The other musical artist was up to me to pick one. The artists that we have for this video are the Beach Boys, as suggested by Karina, and my pick, Red Kross. Let's take a look at the city to get started. Hawthorne is a city in the Los Angeles metropolitan area. It's located in southwestern Los Angeles County. It is part of a 17-city region commonly called the South Bay. As of the 2010 U.S. Census, Hawthorne had a population of 84,000 people. In 2019, the population was estimated at 86,000. Since Hawthorne is in the greater Los Angeles area, there are many tourist attractions in the area. So many, people have done video series on what you can do in LA. In the description, you can find a link to what I'm showing here on the screen, some attractions specific to Hawthorne. I want to take a moment and thank my patrons because their contributions each month really make these videos possible. Yeah, you might see ads on here, but the ads don't do as well as Patreon does. If you like supporting indie creators like me, please consider it. It's as little as $1 per month, and you can pay $3 and $5 for some extra perks and things. I've been sharing weekly videos of live music performances, and that is a lot of fun because live music is happening again outside the city where I live. I'm getting lots and lots of video, and it's going on Patreon. The Beach Boys are an American rock band that formed in Hawthorne, California in 1961. The group's original lineup consisted of brothers Brian, Dennis, and Carl Wilson, their cousin Mike Love, and friend Al Jardine. Distinguished by their vocal harmonies, adolescent-oriented themes, and musical ingenuity, they became one of the most influential acts of the rock era. They drew on the music of older pop vocal groups, 1950s rock and roll, and black R&B to create their unique sound, and under Brian's direction, they often incorporated classical or jazz elements and unconventional recording techniques in innovative ways. Getting together, Brian suggested to Jardine that they team up with his cousin and brother Carl. Love gave the fledgling band its name the Pendletones, a pun on Pendleton, a style of woolen shirt popular at the time. Dennis was the only avid surfer in the group, and he suggested that the group write songs that celebrated the sport and the lifestyle that it had inspired in Southern California. Brian finished the song, titled Surfin', and with Mike Love wrote Surfin' Safari. Murray recalled, they had written a song called Surfin', which I never did like and still don't like. It was so rude and crude. But that song Surfin' is the Beach Boys' first single. On September 15, 1961, the band recorded a demo of Surfin' with the Morgans. A more professional recording was made on October 3rd at World Pacific Studio in Hollywood. David Marks was not present at the session as he was in school that day. Murray brought the demos to Herb Newman, owner of Candix Records and Arrow Records, and he signed the group on December 8. When the single was released a few weeks later, the band found that they had been renamed the Beach Boys. Candix wanted to name the group the Surfers until Russ Reagan, a young promoter with Arrow Records, noted that there already existed a group by that name, and he suggested calling them the Beach Boys. Surfin' was a regional success for the West Coast and reached number 75 on the national Billboard Hot 100 chart. It was so successful that the number of unpaid orders for the single bankrupted Candix. Unfortunately, I can't play any of this song in this video due to copyright, so here's some more information about their first single. Surfin' was written by Brian Wilson and Mike Love. It was released as the debut single on November 1961 on Candix Records and later appeared on the 1962 album Surfin' Safari. The single established the group at the vanguard of what would later be regarded as the California sound. The single peaked at number 75 in the US and it was never released in the UK. I had a lot of difficulty trying to find some sort of song review or information about their first single, Surfin'. The main reason is the Beach Boys song Surfin' Safari, because it has one of the words in the title of this other song. Almost everything was about Surfin' Safari, and plus, that song was absolutely huge compared to their very first single. So here's a little bit more about this song instead of a review. In December 1961, Surfin' was issued on X Records as a promo. The catchy melody and youthful subject caught the attention of local teenagers, and by February 1962, Surfin' hit Billboard's pop chart, starting at number 118 and eventually reaching number 75, selling over 50,000 copies. Having a hit record brought the group better bookings, and on New Year's Eve, they performed at the Long Beach Municipal Stadium in a memorial concert for Richie Valens. They were paid $300. As we move on to our next artist, if you have an idea for an artist or a city, please let me know in the comments. Red Kross is an American alternative rock, punk rock band from Hawthorne, California. They had their roots in 1978 in a punk rock band called The Tourist, which was started by brothers Jeff and Steve McDonald while Steve was still in middle school. With the addition of friends Greg Hetson and John Stilo, sorry if I'm saying it wrong, on drums, the band's first gig was opening for Black Flag. And if you are an old punker like me, you know what a cool thing that would have been for you. A little band history here. The band changed their name to Red Kross with a C from The Tourist in 1979. Now, there is a, maybe I should say, infamous scene in The Exorcist that has inspired this. I needed to censor this out, but I thought that was such a punk rock thing to do in terms of naming your band. I just had to add that little tidbit here. Some more band history. The band would change their name to Red Kross, 2 Ds and a K, in 1984, a little bit later, and I'll just leave this on the screen. It's not unusual for punk bands to have different names throughout their history, so just wanted to put that in this video in case you happen to look up this band later. Going back to 1979, soon after they changed their name, they would go into a recording studio for the first time. They were accompanied by Joel Nolte, leader of Los Angeles rock band The Last, who produced their session at Media Art Studio in Hermosa Beach, California. However, when Red Kross signed not long after with Posh Boy Records, the owner didn't like those recordings, so he'd get most of the songs redone. Copyright is always such a strange thing, and unfortunately I wasn't able to include any of the music or anything from Red Kross in this video. I'm going to wrap this up talking about the production on this album. All songs on Red Kross were originally recorded with producer and engineer Roger Harris at the Shelter Studios in Hollywood, California on October 1st, 1979. The mixing was done at Paradise Studios in Burbank, California, and those are the redone sessions that I mentioned before. Thank you for watching along with me as I talked about these two artists. If you have an idea for an artist or a city, please let me know in the comments. I'll see you next time.